Hello everyone, Shawn Kenney here, playing some Kerbal Space Program, and I'm going to have a look at Orbital Rendezvous, making our first space station in Kerbal Space Program. And I've made a command module. This is going to be the start of our space station. I've included the main solar array here, a couple escape pods. These are going to be empty, but so that this will be how the crew can return home if need be. I have a little bit of fuel on here, and these are hopefully enough thrust to sort of do a little bit of maneuvering, get us into our final position where we want our space station. Otherwise, have the nice high visibility cockpit here. This is going to be staying up in there in the space, and we have like a just below there. That's a docking port, so we'll be able to dock our habitation module here with onto this part, and we'll be able to start building onto it. Just using this is a basic lifter I tend to use a lot. Just gives a lot of thrust. I'm not using asparagus staging in this particular case. It's just all the four side tanks are all going to funnel into the center tank, and then we'll lose all the four side tanks at the same time. And we're not really, I just need to get into a low Kerbal orbit around the equator, and we're going to park it here. I also have some scientific modules on there, so we can do some science when we're up there. The only thing I really recommend when you're building, especially something that you want to rendezvous with something else in space, in particular space station, but you might have a couple parts of a long range interplanetary spacecraft you want to build. When I was before adding the boosters, so taking this part off here, and I used the center of mass tool, and that's how I was trying to decide where to put the RCS thrusters. Now these are maybe slightly not quite perfect there yet, but this part isn't, I'm going to be docking to this part, so I don't need to worry too much about this, but I do have a fair amount of RCS through fuel. This will be able to sort of refuel my other parts and these little command pods as needed. So we have this all ready to go. Let's try and get this into orbit. See, with the center of mass tool with the boosters, right, it really doesn't give you useful data. Obviously this is slightly different now because I've had to make some changes. I was trying to get a booster that will get this into orbit, and I think this should do it here. I haven't fully tested it, but let's give it a try now. So we'll get this, hopefully get this into orbit. I just want to get this into a nice equatorial orbit, probably 80-90 kilometers, just up outside the atmosphere, so it will stay up there, but nice and low, so we'll have a great view of Kerbal as we're orbiting around, and it will require the least amount of fuel for any ships that want to get up there. They won't have to get very far, and eventually we'll be able to add maybe some fuel tanks that will be able to then fuel some voyages to further out into space. So I'm going to have to set the thrust maybe around there. I'm going to lock on our SAS, and let's launch. And I want to keep an eye on overheating. I guess I could put the little half tanks on the bottom of these, and they will allow you to run these mainsails at pretty much maximum thrust without overheating. I'm not sure whether that's a little bug or a feature, or what's up with that, but I don't think we really need it. And there should be this is a fairly small module, so about 70% thrust is probably going to be more than enough to get us moving. I don't want to really be going much faster than 150 meters per second while we're still in this lower, denser atmosphere. So I'm just going to dial down the speed a little bit until about 2/3 speed is usually pretty good for this setup, I find. And just admire all these lovely terrain of Kerbal. And I have a bunch of Separatrons on these, so that's going to help because help separate these side tanks off. I just have them, the two pointing in sort of different directions here off to the side. Say like the rocket engines are on the ends there, and so that should just peel them off nice and easy, and keep the extra fuel tanks away from our main fuel tank and engine, because that's usually disastrous if they collide. So here we're almost, this is probably about a good time to start transferring, doing our gravity turn. Ooh, quite a bit of shaking. Those little escape pods are jiggling about there. Oh yeah, I'm still used to turning off the SAS before moving, but I don't need to do that anymore. So I'm just going to keep this on 90 degrees. Let's have a look what our orbit is looking like. Okay, we're about 30 kilometers up, and those side tanks are about ready to go. And there they go. See those Separatrons, just keeping them nice and away from our main rocket. Everything's looking good then. Okay, so let's still keep going at about 45-degree angles, maybe until this is 60 kilometers up, and then I'm going to want to flatten it out, I think, is what I tend to like to do. I'll probably start actually easing down a little bit as we go. Because even if we're burning at straight 90 degrees, it'll still keep going up. So let's get a little bit more. Let's flatten this out now, I guess. And yeah, so this is looking good. We have a lot of fuel left in this rocket. This should be enough to circularize our orbit. And what I'm going to want to do is when we're still not quite at an orbit, I'm going to want to ditch this last part, because I don't want this floating around in orbit with our space station. It's unlikely to hit us, but if we don't move ourselves out of its orbits, chances are eventually, give enough time, it will hit us, and having the least amount of space debris up is usually pretty good. I mean, I suppose I could go and destroy it in the tracking center. That's always an option as well. But, you want to try and, try and think about it a little bit realistically. We want to plan our missions around sustainable space development, right? So we're still haven't quite circularized. I guess I should increase this. I can't run it at 100%, otherwise it will overheat, but definitely need a little bit more go juice here. There we go. I was wondering why things weren't really moving along. We were just sort of, it was moving just slower. So everything is looking pretty good though so far. We still have just enough fuel, and like I said, I'm going to want to wait until this is very nearly a full orbit before ditching the last, even if I have a little bit of fuel left in it. Okay, here we are. So that is a periapsis about, see, I don't want it being too high, but I don't want to be doing a whole lot of burning on my actual command module itself either. I don't have a whole lot of fuel in it, and those engines aren't very, they don't, they're good for a little bit of maneuvering, but I don't really want to try and fix my orbit with it. So I'm really trying to judge what might be. Okay, I'm thinking this might be as far as I want to go. All right, let's detach this part. We're going to thrust up, and there we go. And hopefully this will be enough. Okay, so that's That's up at 100. Alright, well, we don't want to get any higher than that. So I'm going to time accelerate here. And we'll circularize at 100 kilometers up. That'll be a good height to have our space station. And yeah, we're just going to be drifting along, enjoying the view. Jeb is loving it. Here we go. So we're just going to, this is working out well. That the last booster phase should re-enter the atmosphere. It should hit the atmosphere, decelerate enough, and land. Although I don't have the tracking on for those debris for when recording. Otherwise, it does get bog the system down a little bit and makes everything a little bit slower. So we'll avoid that. And oh, I wanted to. Come on, set focus. Okay, well, I can't mess around with that too much. No, that's our descending node. I'm going to need to turn around. And we want to bring our periapsis up to 100 kilometers. And I guess based on the amount of thrust we did have, I guess we're not doing actually too bad. I did add a few more of these on. And there we go. Alright, so 102, 99, 100. Okay, I think that's about as good as it's going to get. I think that's pretty good. Alright, so we're in orbit. We're in a stable orbit. Up out of the atmosphere, we can we have some lights on, and well, I'm not going to keep the lights on though. I have all the solar panels tied to Action Group 1, so let's deploy those. Oh yeah, there we go. Although we're in the darkness, but okay. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to orientate ourselves so that we're on sort of a north-south, up-down kind of axis here. And the reason I want to do this is when I come in with the habitation module, I can lock on to the same orientation, and it's just going to be easier. Like I could choose sort of any degree to do it at if I'm doing it the same on the habitation module. It just should mean I'm coming in aligned with the station, and it's going to make it easier. If I'm off at some random angle, I'll basically have to try and match that visually, whereas if I have it orientated like this, I can just use this the compass ball to help get myself all lined up. So there we go. We have our command module up, and we'll turn the lights off because that will eventually drain our electrical charge. We probably, of course, in the daylight we'll have solar panels, so it's not a big deal. We do have the nuclear reactors, so we don't really need the solar panels, but space stations have solar panels, so shit, gotta add solar panels to it. So we got our first command module up. It's time we'll go back to the Space Center, and we'll get the habitation module, which I've put together already here. So and we'll try rendezvous with our command module. Now it's a tricky operation. It can be sometimes a little tedious, but as you get used to it, it does get a little bit easier. And we are going for a fairly simple rendezvous in this particular case. So we need to load up our hab module. There we go. I'm pretty much using the exact same type of booster. This hab module is actually even simpler than the command module. It has the extra crew compartment. We have the larger capsule there, so that'll be sort of part. That has life support systems and everything in it. Some extra RCS as well, and an extra docking port so we can add more modules as we want and help grow our station. So I think a little bit of solar panels just so as we're trying to get it rendezvoused, we don't run out of power as well. So this is ready to go. We can launch this as well. Oh, and I didn't fill it up with Kerbals again. All right, well that's fine. We'll have some trips where we add some Kerbals to it. Just gonna get right off the bat. Launch this. Let's get this into space. Bob and Bill ready to join Jeb on the command module. They're bringing up some new video games so that they have something to do when they're not doing science and checking out gravity and just staring out at Kerbin. So it's actually going to, once again, running the engines a little too hot. Dial them back a little bit. Actually, I find with this, really about 2/3 is usually pretty good. Like, we're still going to be accelerating a little bit. I don't want to try and avoid going over 150 kilometers or meters per second until we're up out of the lower, denser part of the atmosphere. We might be still going up a little bit hot. I'll just dial it back a little bit, and we'll be burning it at almost 50% power, but that's fine. It's still getting us up there, and our fuel will last a little longer because we're not burning it as quickly. So that's all good. Turn the light it up. All right, so we're getting up to just over 10. We're going to start moving towards the 90 degrees. Once I see that dial go, just tick over there a little bit. All right, start turning. Our side tanks are almost out of fuel. We'll be ditching those shortly here. Alright, so just locking on to the... keeps wanting to rise up a little bit. It's okay. Just keep it on the 90 degrees. It's definitely a lot lighter, so we're going to have a lot more thrust in this this booster phase than we did on the command module. But yeah, we're doing pretty good so far. Keep an eye on that apoapsis. I said maybe we're and start flattening it out. Actually, we're going to lose those side tanks, so I don't want to be doing too much movement. There we go. We'll just let those get nice and away from us. Then we can start nosing over and getting ourselves to the 90 degrees. And what are we at? That's about 60. If we nose over to about 90 degrees, then we should be really in good shape here. Alright. So hopefully it'll lock on a little bit. There we go. Okay. I can thrust up a little bit. I don't want to get too much, otherwise our engines will overheat. They are starting to overheat a little bit, but it should stop at some point. Anytime now. I don't want you blowing up on me. Alright, so we need to match this orbit here. I think we may be a little off. It's going to be hard. I'm going to have to probably use the maneuver node system once we're a little bit closer to an orbit to really try and lock on, and we'll really want to match that orbit. I really should have actually waited until this command module was maybe about here in the orbit before trying to launch, and that would make sure that we were a lot closer and make it a lot easier to rendezvous. Unfortunately, I jumped the gun a little bit and launched it too early. So we'll just deal with that. Just means a few extra orbits. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we're getting close to an orbit here. I'm going to kill the engines, and at the apoapsis, so it's about 76. It's just outside the atmosphere. I'm going to want to wait till we're a little bit closer there. We're going to circularize, and then we'll have to do a little bit of adjusting as far as the orbits. We're not quite perfect, but I think for the most part we're going to be in good shape here. We had more than enough fuel on this booster phase, so once again I'm going to sort of want to watch for the I'm going to want to wait until almost circularize the orbit, where I still have a little bit of a dip down in the atmosphere, so that when I drop the booster phase, it will re-enter the atmosphere and burn up, or can be recovered, or it's just going to burn up and blow up, actually, is what's going to really happen there. I'm going to do a little bit of time accelerating until we're closer to the apoapsis. There we go. And I want to flatten out our trajectory. I want to be right on 90 degrees. Make sure we're flying nice and straight. Alright. Unfortunately, this has quite a bit of a wobble to it with those docking rings. Come on now, it doesn't really want to. We'll give it a little. This sometimes with a really heavy rocket, if you have thrust vectoring, just give it a little bit of thrust. It's going to make it a whole lot easier to try and steer and lock on. Oh, almost too much there. Okay, actually at this point, I think I am going to want to ditch the booster. That was just need a little more kick. I think we have plenty enough. Hopefully we have some thrust in the command module here to actually get us finish circularizing our orbit. There we go. Oh, that's so much better. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. I think this is a good place to start. We're at 75 there. And so we're just outside the atmosphere. We're coming around inside, so we should be coming around a little bit faster. The first thing I want to do is we're going to set the command module as our target. And one thing it does give us these descending node and descending node. What this is sort of giving you an indication of the points where the orbits intersect. So I don't know. We're slightly say we're slightly off. Say our orbit's dipping down below our target orbit a little bit on that side, and it's up a little bit higher. But the descending and ascending nodes are where they cross over. So this is the point where we'll want to add a maneuver node to. You can do it at either point here, and we'll use the pink maneuver nodes to rotate it. So I don't know if you see the projected. I was just moving it slightly so that it moves it up, and then it's intersecting with our green target. We still have a slightly smaller orbit moving around inside the orbit of our command module, but I want to get our alignment fixed correctly first. So that will be our first maneuver. And so we'll just look around for the blue target on our trackball here. Compass. And there it is. And so it's saying that it's going to be a 6-second burn, and the node's in about 7 minutes, so we can time accelerate. There we go. And don't want to because getting this accurate is pretty important. Otherwise, if you do it at any other time, right, you're going to end up getting a different angle to your orbit. All right, so we're gonna not going to accelerate too much faster here. We got 20 seconds. I want to start burning at 3 seconds, and then shut it off 6 seconds later, and we should be in good shape. Alright, so start firing now. And once that bar disappears, we're gonna cut our engines. Okay. And if we look, oh, look at that, we're in good shape. So our orbit is on the same plane as our target orbit. And now we just need to wait until we're a little bit closer, actually. So I think it's a little bit of time acceleration is in order. Unfortunately, we are pretty low, so don't have the best options. This is about as fast as it's going to go. So what I'll probably do is we'll do a little spin up of time, and I'll cut back in at the point when we're ready to do some more maneuvers. Okay, and so we're back. Definitely a little bit closer. We can start thinking about what our next burn is going to be. So let's add a maneuver node here. Actually, that's really near. So we can do it on the other end, and we'll keep our periapsis nice and low, so we still have a bit of maneuver room. We're still going to catch up. Okay, so now we're starting to get some intersects. That's when we're getting really close. So our separation about 64 kilometers in that particular case. I was hitting the wrong one there. Okay, we're going to have to add that again. And I just want to add it slowly. And I'm going to play around with it a little bit to see how close we'll end up getting here. So I don't want to boost out too far. We want to ultimately match this orbit, and I think that's pretty good. We'll go with that. Just a short little burst, 15 meters per second. It's literally a 2-second burn, and that's mostly what it's going to be. Is a lot of little short, just love taps as far as burns go, and just sort of easing ourselves into position. Oh no, I don't want to. That's our command module. I want to switch targeting to the HAB module, but sometimes it's going to be a little tricky. Just wanted to add a. Well, whatever. I guess it doesn't matter a whole lot. Be able to do it from here. On accelerating. So we're 7 minutes out still. A little while to go. Coming kind of quick, so I'll slow that down just a little bit. And we get a fantastic view of Kerbin. Up. T-minus 40 seconds to go. Let's make sure we're locked on our target here. Okay. I can probably accelerate even a little bit here. I don't even think we're going to have to do a full power burn. I'd probably just a little bit until there we're done now. Okay, so we'll kill that maneuver node. So we're going to be much closer. And once we start getting into this phase, I think we might be another orbit before we catch up. We'll see the positions move here as we go past the marks. Okay, so at some point we're going to overtake it. So at this point, I'm going to want to add a maneuver. We don't have a whole lot of time to add it in. Oh no, I don't want to do any. Not good. Okay, let's add a little bit of thrust, and I want to. Oh yeah, look at that. Just line those right up. So we're going to be having an intersect of a separation of 3.5 kilometers. That's fantastic. Where is my maneuver node? There it is. Oh. Shoot, we're going past it. It's only going to be a short burn, though. We should be able to make up. That's should be it, maybe. Okay, that's our actual. It's going to be a little bit more than that, but okay. So we're getting into to the orbital where we're going to be start doing our final. Here we are. Okay, so there's the command module. It's 62 kilometers out. What I'm going to do is switch this to target, and so this means we're going to be firing straight towards the target. And I'm going to give it a little bit of. Oh, you know what? That's probably not what I wanted to do. Okay, so I think we're going to be overtaking this. This is the way this is going to work here. Yeah. Okay, so that speed is starting to the distance is starting to reduce. We're going to have to basically wait for most of the orbit, halfway around this orbit before we're going to start doing some transitions. But what I'm going to want to do is once this starts getting closer, there's going to be a point when it sort of crosses our path and starts going behind us. At that point, I'm going to want to do a deceleration burn, and I'm not describing it very well. It's much easier to show. So because I had this in target, all these points are going to be in relation to our target. So what I'll want to be doing is, decelerating in relation to our target, and sort of bringing this speed down to 0 is I think the idea. Now this speed will be changing in relation as we get closer, I believe. I'm just going to have to keep doing some time acceleration. As you see, this is getting closer and closer. And what is our closest approach? Is about 40. So yeah, about 40 kilometers is going to be the closest approach that we do. This can always be really tricky. Now that doesn't seem right as well either, does it? If I were to burn. That's burning straight for it. And we are moving towards it at about 150 meters per second. I'm going to time accelerate a little bit closer. Okay, here we are at about 40. So I think we need to... oh, I lost it as a target. Darn it. Okay. Command module set as target. Okay. I don't know, is this going to be the right thing to do? Oh yeah, that is getting us closer. Okay. Just going to be doing a little bit of burning until that gets like as close as I could possibly make. Oh yeah, 0.6. This is perfect. Okay, so we're coming in much closer. I'm just going to have to time accelerate a bit, and as we're getting much closer, and then we want to kill our relative velocity to it, which I think should be this. I'm hoping. Because it was always sort of like between decelerating against it or accelerating towards it, and then the one of the pink nodes. Like I said, I've only done this a few times, to be perfectly honest. It's always a challenge. It always takes quite a bit of time, a little bit of fiddly work. But here we go. We're getting much closer. And like I said, our separation, we should be getting like ridiculously close to it. I'm thinking maybe around a couple kilometers. Yeah, we're decelerating in relation to it. We're basically just going to want to match our speed, our orbit, with our target. Here we are. We're maybe at around 2 kilometers, I think. Oh, well, actually, we'll give ourselves a little bit of room. So I'm thinking, yeah, that decelerating in relation to it should get us really close. I'm hoping. And okay, here we are. And our closest approach is supposed to be about 200 meters. That's when I'm going to want it, because we're not going very fast in relation to it. So this is where it gets really tricky. And so this is what I'm talking about, is I want to be decelerating in relation to the target sort of as it's passing by. So it's going to be passing by around here. This is going to be our closest approach right around here. So I'm going to be slow, trying burning a little bit until that our target speed is, oh yeah. I don't know if I overshot a little bit. Oh, there we go. Almost sort of just matched right on. And now what I'm going to want to do is target, is it directly towards it? Is the pink one now, I think? Yeah. And so I'll give it a little bit of thrust. We'll maybe go up to I think almost 5 meters per second. This is pretty good. And then I'm going to flip right around, because this is a pretty maneuverable little habitation module. So, and we'll do our deceleration burn. So we're heading pretty much now. This is a good sign that the pink line dot is right on our descending dot. Means we almost have no sort of lateral momentum in relation to the command module. Look at this, 70, 80. I'm gonna start slowing down just a little bit. There we go, coming in at half a meter per second, and now we have a little bit of maybe lateral movement. I want to maybe kill any relative movement that we do have. I'm going to burn towards it a little bit. We're only 40 meters away and I can hardly see it. I'm going to have to get those lights on, I guess. Oh, there! Oh my god, we're way too close. Quick, quick, quick. Decelerate, decelerate. There we go. Okay. Alright, so at this point, let's get the RCS working, and I'm going to switch it to the docking mode. And this is going to make it a lot easier too. As you can see, it just does this straight. It doesn't try and rotate or anything. Now, we got the E and I'm missing a couple directions, I think. Let's forward, back. I need to find the left and right buttons. No, camera. That's it's not good. Oh, we're running out of power. Okay, so I think we're more or less stable in relation to it. Going to switch to the command module, and we'll get those lights on. Okay, and now I thought we were oriented. Let's orientate ourselves sort of the north-south again. So we can then switch to our HAB module, and then wherever it happens to be. Okay, and switch to our HAB module. Okay, so we have that lit. Better almost wait till day, actually, come to think of it. But okay, so let's turn off the RCS. Let's orientate ourselves so we're up and down as well. And this means that we should be able to be lined up. And now if I use the RCS, I am forgetting, like I can rotate, but I'm forgetting what the commands are for sort of the left and right, which is not. Yeah, we're almost out of battery power. That's going to suck if I don't have to continue just rotating. And heading backwards. Yeah, we're going to be backing in. And I really should set that as a target. That'll help as well. Okay, that's the command module. Okay, we've rotated a little bit. Oh, this is always switching back and forth. Ah, okay. Actually, I wonder if I can do it. I think I can do it with these keys. Yes, yeah, this will work. And no, I don't want to rotate. I want to get a little bit closer. So we're still, I don't think we're completely lined up here. Even though we're north-south, I thought that would make it a little bit easier. Obviously it's not. Coming in at 1 meter a second. So this is really where it gets really tricky, because you know, you don't want to be ramming into the station. If I hit those solar panels, it will break, and it would be a bad situation. I don't want that. Oh, now I'm moving away. I really want to just sort of kill any movement we have. Oh, this is always... And like I said, I'm forgetting what one of my key presses is for when I'm in docking mode. For say I'm going to go forward, back, left and right, and rotate. But there is another command that I'm just using the defaults. But oh, we are so super close to that solar panel. Oh my goodness. Okay. I need to fix the orientation just a little bit. I'm just going to be doing this by eye at this point. And I need to kill that movement. Let's get us in closer just a little bit. Oh, this is stressful. Yeah, I really need that other... Is it G? I... Goodness. I really wish I had that command. I'm going to have to rotate 90 degrees and bring us up just a little bit. Oh, we're back us out a little bit. We're almost there. This is terrible docking, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. There we go. Oh, okay, now the magnetic forces. Oh, we have success. We've mated the habitation module with the command module. Excellent. All right, so now we're all one ship. I'm going to control from here, and toggle torque. Reaction wheels operational, so that okay. Now that we have SAS on, like it used to be really bad when you had stations, you'd get like the oscillation wobble and they'd shake itself apart. That's not happening anymore with this new SAS. It's fantastic. Alright, so we have our station, and we can call it the International Kerbal Space Station, the IKSS. And there we have it. And just in time for some dawn. Apparently a laser from the sky. I don't know, man. Little graphical glitches going on there. I don't know what that's all about. Once again, I don't have to turn off the SAS. I'm just going to orientate ourselves a little bit. Actually, you know what? I want to orientate ourselves the other way so that this we'll be able to go. We'll go into Jeb's view. And we'll be able to see. You know, I don't think they'd really want to rotate the space station this quickly, but there we go. And we'll want to orientate it so that our solar panels can take full advantage of the sun. There we go. We probably don't need the lights on. Oh, look at that. Okay, and let's. I think we are controlling from here. Let's do an IVA. Oh, I left the emergency slide rule in the bottom right cabinet. Awesome, thanks. Always need the emergency slide rule. This is what a great view. This is the commanding view, that's for sure, of Kerbin in the space station. Oh, nice. A little photo of us on the moon. Some snacks, the tubes of peanut butter. Oh, I like this. I like this little cockpit. It's great. Okay, so this has been orbiting. Oh no, I should not be hitting controls. Let's get right back to the. I need to get out of there. Okay, so I mean, I suppose I could disable all the engines at this point in case I do accidentally hit the shift button, which probably end up doing. But there we go. We have the basics of a small little space station, and we even have quite a bit of fuel in it. Both these tanks are 3/4 of the way full, and so that's pretty good. We haven't used. We didn't really use much RCS, so we have a ton of RCS that we'll be able to transfer to any ship that we that might need it. Although we don't usually need a whole lot of RCS, but if we want to maybe add a large fuel tank to the space station, then that might use a lot of RCS in me trying to orbit it. And get it lined up. But there we go. We have our first space station, a little bit of orbiting docking tutorial for you as well. See how that works. Oh, before we go, we'll need to deploy our communications array. I forgot about that. There's the short range mast. All right, and then we can get our HBO with our big dish here. So we'll be able to pick up internet and watch YouTube while we're floating around in the International Kerbal Space Station, and maybe Jeb will do a little rendition of here's Major Tom or something great fun like that. All right, so there we go. We do have the hab model. I guess we could move everybody into the habitation module, because that is currently empty. Yeah, maybe why not? We'll do that, but probably do that next time or something if we're adding another part to it. But there we go. So there's our first space station. I'm Shawn Kenney. This has been Kerbal Space Program. Thanks for watching. So long for now.